Let me ask you something. Anyone here who's a runner? Because today we have a training for runners who want to be a triathlete. And I came from a running background. I've been running for over 20 years now. And, and I picked up swimming later down the road. And to me, I was asking myself, why does swimming feel like I've never worked out a day in my life? And I cannot understand that before. Anyone here who can relate to that? Why can you run so many miles? You finish probably half marathon. To me, I was finishing already sub 4 marathons, was doing already ultra running. But after, honestly, it was only like 25 meters. I was gasping for air. Okay.
I hear this all the time. I mean, I always laugh at it because runners get to the pool and they feel like they're dying. But then I remember the first time I started running, I was thinking, how do you people do this for miles?
Oh, so that's the opposite.
It goes both ways.
So Vineta comes from a swimming background. And so for her, the running was hard for her. Well, exactly. So you said that right. And that's actually the point most people miss. Just because you're fit in one sport, it doesn't mean your body knows how to move in another sport, or you can breathe efficiently in another. And here's the truth that most people don't realize. Swimming doesn't reward effort or just showing up. And honestly, I thought that's all I need, because to me, I grew up, just work hard, do this plan. And honestly, it took me a long time. So if you've ever thought, why am I out of breath this fast? I can run long, I can ride forever, but I cannot just stay long feeling calm. Anyone here? Out of breath? Put under the comment. Out of breath. I can swim 1,000 meters. So anyone here who can swim 1,000 meters, but even though you can swim 1,000 meters, you still feel out of control. Like, it's not the same as when you're running. When you run, you can stop. And some athletes actually have, like fear on that. Well, if I'm in the pool, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Well, what more in the open water?
Yeah.
Anyone was fear like that? Because they would say, I don't know how to tread. What am I going to do? It's more tiring.
I know. And some people think, maybe I'm just not a swimmer, not built to be a swimmer,
Well, yeah. So this training is for you, okay? Because today we're going to break down why this is happening.
And later we'll show you what allowed Valerie to go from feeling like the CO2 was building up
carbon dioxide
after 150 meters and
to swimming 1,500 meters.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Feeling relaxed and strong.
Yeah. Well, so now just a quick context. So this makes sense to you. Okay. So those for you who are listening and who just jump in and who are new in following us, I'm Coach Shangri-La. I'm a 2 times Guinness World Record holder in triathlon. I've raced everything from sprint distance. I start from actually super sprint, all female. And it's mainly because of the swim. All right. And all the way to Ironman World Championship, Kona, Ultraman, including 10-kilometer ocean swim. And one of them is in Hawaii. But what matters more is that I've coached thousands of athletes, both in person and a lot more remotely, from complete beginners who are afraid to just even put their face in the water, who have not gone into the pool. And they said, Coach, I actually don't know if there's a pool around my neighborhood because I've never gone to the gym to that point. And to even athletes, high performers trying to break out from plateau or trying to qualify for Kona, or who are just tired looking at their watch, they say, Coach, this pace has not moved for months or even years, even after all my workouts. And here's what I've seen over and over again. It's not a fitness problem. It's not about you're not doing the work. It's more about your training. And I've seen a lot of individuals posting videos in groups, in social media. And a lot of times they look great above the water. They feel good in the pool and they get blindsided. And they didn't know because they feel good in the pool. And of course, you want to feel good. Hey, good job. Of course you want that. But then The training today, I don't want you to get blindsided like I did and a lot of other individuals, runners, when they show up to the race, whether that's first sprint triathlon, Olympic, or even 70.3, and even those swimming were in your assisted on a river, like, like it's you're fast, right? You're still surrounded by a lot of people on race day. The pressure is high, and if you're not really learning how to swim or do the proper training, that's where in it, like, where's my training, you know? So fit athletes discipline, doing the work, they still out of breath. And even athletes who are already finishing distance in the pool, guess what? They're still having a hard time when they get to the open water. And I've also seen, the good news is that I've also seen the opposite once they understand what's actually happening. Because a lot of athletes, they just go laps or they do the technique drills without even understanding. And they look good. They take a video. They look good above the water. But then they don't really understand whether their breathing is good, whether their body position is good. And the next part, timing. There's those nuances on every individual. It's very unique. So they don't just get faster. They finally feel in control once they understand that.
Yeah, well said. And I'm Coach Vineta. I focus on open water confidence.
Yes.
And more importantly, what's actually going wrong when you feel anxious in the water.
Yeah. Well, so for everyone who's listening or watching, live, put hashtag live right now. Put that, start practicing your thumb, or if you're in the keyboard, or hashtag replay if you're listening or watching replay.
Yeah, and feel free to ask any questions anytime, because we go back and we do our best to answer.
Yeah. And we have a lot of free trainings as well. So like if you look into like watching this one on a replay, if there's any questions, do not hesitate. That's why we do this free training, so that you can learn. But then if you're learning and you're still stuck in a question and actually something that you've been dealing with, this is the time for you to ask questions, even if you're listening to the replay. Is that good? All right. So, well, I have a quick question for you. Who here feels fine, like at 50 yards? And then after that, you have to stop. Put 50 under the comment. How about 100? How about when you get to like 200, you start feeling it, you start having a hard time to breathe, but you're like, you got the runner's mindset. I got to push through. This is how it should be. This is how it should be. Just like running, something is going on. But, you still finish. So you're happy, you finish the distance. And then, that's where you feel that breathing just falls apart. Type breath in the chat if that's you. When suddenly it just falls apart somewhere. And tell me the distance of, the distance, that ceiling that you want to get over. Or maybe it's only like 10 yards. I just shared someone who actually was only swimming 10 yards, and her name is Ophel. And she's already in 50s and 10 yards. And she said, I want to be able to swim. Guess what? She was able to swim in the ocean, Santa Cruz 70.3 in under 1 hour. That's with waves, current, in within 6 months. Coming from not even finishing a lap. You can do this. And today I'm going to share to you, not only that, we're also going to share, we're going to also invite a special guest, who also have experienced this. Okay. So now to help bring this to life, we're going to introduce you someone, like I said, this is not a pro athlete, this is not a pro athlete.
Yeah. This is somebody you're going to be able to relate to.
This is a runner who has family, who's a full-time job, is actually very busy. And this is not someone who grew up swimming. In fact, she just also got into running in the late 40s. Anyone here has been running for like 10 years? I've been running for over 20 years. And I thought I was already late when I started swimming in 30s. And later on, I realized, no, it's never too late. Until now, we have athletes in the 50s and even 60s. They said, if not now, when else? I want to experience that looks like fun. All right. Well, so like this is someone who did exactly what most of you are doing right now. Showing up, putting in the work, trying to figure things out. This swimming, it's annoying, right? I know.
Be.
No, not for you. It was easy for you. You're like, just, all right, I got it. She doesn't even train. Runners out there, right? Well, here you go. I'm going to show you this. Let me, again, like technicalities, but let me show you what is our training. And let me see this one here. I really hope I get this one right.
This one.
Stop screen.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Let's open.
Stay patient with me, everyone. I'm doing my best here. I'm doing my best. All right, right here. Okay. You're going to see a lot of windows. There you go. Can you guys see that? Okay.
Yes.
So today, I'm going to introduce you to Valerie. Valerie's coming from Runner. Can you guys see it? I want to make sure that you guys see it.
Yeah. Let's make it bigger so it really shows up right.
You guys can see all my screen. Okay. Vineta's checking out. If you guys can see it.
It's good.
It's good. Okay. So from runner to triathlete, why swimming feels so hard and how to fix it. This individual was able to actually get to 1,500 meters. When the time I talked to her, and she's going to tell you more, like, Coach, I can swim 1,000 nonstop, but by 150, I start feeling I felt carbon dioxide building up and more gasping. So I just pushed through. And at the time, her pace was around 240, 248. That was her pace. That was back in, actually early this year, January 24th to March 4, counting number of weeks in 5 weeks. She was able to do this. And the thing about it, everyone, is that she was already swimming. Actually, she showed up there. Let me just introduce you guys.
Yay!
There you go, Valerie. Valerie, how you doing?
Our special guest today.
I am so happy you got time today. Again, congratulations for what you have achieved in just 5 weeks. How'd you feel about that when you finished that 1,500 meters nonstop? Can you hear us? Let me see. Ooh. Let me see. Make sure
unmuting.
Okay.
Let's do it again.
There we go. Okay. Hi guys. I'll do it again. Hello.
Yeah. How'd you feel when you finished that 1,500 meters nonstop?
It was a great feeling. And mostly because just the confidence, that was like the biggest difference to me, because like you said before, I had hit 1,000, but it was just a total push through, miserable, it wasn't a good feeling even when I accomplished that. And so this was totally different. When I hit the 1,500, it was sustainable. Like I felt like I could keep going and I wasn't panicking. I wasn't pushing. It was just a different experience altogether. And that was so rewarding.
It was like your graduation. I got it done.
Yes.
So good.
It is not just about the distance, because you finished 1,000. I mean, what is 500, right? But it's the feeling.
Yes.
You were different.
Definitely. And I think really the breathing was the biggest difference. Like the breath was controlled, and I had really learned, through the swim boot camp, the long exhale and the value of that. And in fact, I was just doing a session today and I still was like repeating to myself, like blow, like slowly, like through the straw, like these little phrases, that I learned through the swim boot camp. They're invaluable because like that was how I could control, my effort. And that was pretty significant change for me, because before I had been like almost like a short puff exhale underwater, but then I do the quick inhale. And I think that's what it was, just building up. And then it just, elevated my heart rate, and it just soon felt out of control. And then everything just kind of fell apart.
Yeah. Well, Will, you also did before that, you also did 200 meters, which is the critical swim speed. By the way, everyone, so in our 30-day swim boot camp, what we do is that we get the baseline first. Okay, where the athlete is at. And that's where the numbers that you saw earlier, there's 200 meters, we do 400 meters. You can read more about critical swim speed. You Google it. It's kind of like FTP test, or if you do a test. So for us, it's not just about doing technique drills. For us, especially because I was an engineer for 15 years, I love numbers. And I don't want our athletes to just do this workout and they don't get results. Because that's me too. I don't want to just do my workouts like, why? I mean, I'm putting in time. I want results. I want to be confident. I don't want to do the workout, right? And so like for her, so she did 200 meters, 400 meters, and her time was around 240 to 248. Okay. So now, fast forward, after 5 weeks, okay, she did the 200 meters, the 400 meters. There's actually incident, and you go ahead and tell the story about this high school big guy, big dudes.
Oh, yeah, there were when I did the swim test for, like, after the boot camp test, then there were actually two college swimmers on either side of me, and the pool was packed. It's never packed at this time. That's why I chose to do it then. But that day, of course, it was packed. So we're all actually sharing a lane, like three of us in a lane. And anyway, so it's crazy, but yeah, it was still like, I just felt so confident in like the technique and the work that I had put in. And that again, the confidence is really the difference in feeling like you understand now what you need to correct. And so I felt really good about the time, even, with like a lot of churning on either side of me, which is, really good for race preparation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a bonus too.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that it's a lane. There's two big guys, and then so there's three people.
Yeah.
And four, when you were swimming, by the way, everyone, so let me go back about your sprint triathlon race.
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead. So like how before that, let's backward further.
Yes, before we met each other.
So like how long have you been doing your swimming before that?
No, so I started swimming for the first time in, let's see, it would have been late 2024, early 2025. And, the first time I went to the pool, I was running before that. And then I just decided that triathlon looked like fun. I thought, I can kind of figure out cycling. But I knew I needed to learn swimming. I knew enough about swim just to keep myself like afloat, but hadn't ever learned as a child, like wasn't on swim team, didn't know the first thing about freestyle technique, anything. So I started going to the pool, and again, runner's mindset, I'm just going to put the time in. And, after the first few attempts, I mean, I did cry. I'll admit it. I went back to my car and cried because I just was so defeated. And, I felt like I'm fit. I should be able to figure this out. So I did take a couple of lessons from the local Y instructor. And then I thought, okay, now I kind of know technique. I'll just keep putting the meters in. It's just going to be a matter of showing up to the pool. Yeah. So I swam 3 times a week for a year.
Last year, right?
Before I did. Yep. Exactly. So a year ago, January is when I did the swim boot camp. I had been swimming for a year, 3 times a week. And I was I was methodical and consistent. But so my first attempt at a race was in June of 2025. And that was my first open water experience. And it was a bit of a disaster. So I showed up and the water temperature was too warm for the wetsuit. So I'd only practiced open water wearing a wetsuit. And, so everybody's obviously taking the wetsuit off. So I'm taking the wetsuit off. And it was like 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. So like lots of chop. Yes. And so no wetsuit, lots of chop. And it's 750 meters. It's a 750 meter swim. So I had done 1,000. Remember, I told you I could do 1,000, but it was that was in the pool. And that was, even still like pretty intense effort for me. But I thought I can do 750. I can do it. So I started in, and the 2 swimmers in front of me panicked and turned around. And so then I instantly like had this, split second decision of, do I just give up? Do I turn around? Like, can I do this? But my husband and son were standing on the shore.
Right.
I'm not going to turn around and give up. Like, I'm going to keep going. So I did, but it was truly it took me 30 minutes to swim 750, and my heart rate was just through the roof the whole swim. I mean, I was trying, what would happen is every time I turned to breathe, I'd get slammed, because of the chop. And so then I just panicked. And so it was a messy combination of side stroke, backstroke, try to do a little freestyle. It was awful.
To get to the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah.
How was your mental? Because you explained about the physical, right? Chest night, your heart rate shoot up, right?
Yeah.
Hard to breathe.
Yeah. And how about your mindset? My
mindset was just like total disarray. Like, I didn't have the tools to even cope with that situation. Like, I had never trained in that environment. I didn't have any coaching. And so it was like survival, really. And and I was so surprised that even when I would flip over on my back and try to backstroke, it was still so much chop that I just constantly felt like I was getting, slammed with water and couldn't get my heart rate down. And I noticed, so after I did make it out and I did go through transition and get on my bike, I mean, the bike, like probably 30 minutes into the bike was when my heart rate finally started to drop.
It took a long time. Yeah.
It took a long time. Yeah. And so really after that race, I was demoralized because I really loved the training for triathlon. I love the variety. And, as hard as the swimming was, I still enjoyed like learning and being challenged. Yeah. But after that race, I really took a good month to think, okay, I'm just going to be a runner. Like you guys were talking about earlier, it was my mindset, like maybe I'm just not a swimmer. Like I just am not a swimmer and I'm just going to have to give up. But I'm a bit stubborn. And so I, a month later went back to the pool and, started trying again, putting in the time, watched a lot of videos. But, by January of this year, I just wasn't seeing any progress. And so when I did find your coaching program, I just thought it's time, like I'm wasting my time and that's silly. So if I'm really going to do this, I need to go back to basics and properly learn technique and how to do this the right way.
Valerie, what happened when you said that you're not improving? How come you didn't just say, well, kind of like, for example, for running, well, maybe I just need to do more, because some individuals will just do more. Like, for example, when I came from running background, I was like over 4 hours. I'm like, maybe I just need to do more marathons. I'll be better, do more.
Yeah.
Like, you can also think, well, I've been only, 1 year, it's not much. You could also reason that out. So like, what made you think that, hey, maybe I should do something different?
I think I was aware enough of how I felt in the water to realize this isn't right. And I could see other swimmers at the pool and watch them, and I knew I didn't look like them. And so, to me, I knew there was something I was missing, and I was pretty confident after swimming 3 times a week for a year that it wasn't going to just magically happen. And I was willing to put the work in, but I just, after watching those other swimmers, I just thought to myself, I can tell that I don't feel and move through the water like those swimmers that had the good technique. And that's when I decided I needed some coaching.
Yeah. So everyone, so this is based on what Valerie had said, this is basically what's happening. Like, it's not really just putting in the work.
Right.
It's not that Valerie was lazy or slacking. She was consistent 3 times
for a year.
Yeah. That's a long time. In
Yeah.
fact, when we did her first test, before she started the program, her pace was 240, 248, around there, 240, 250, which is, if you think about it, is pretty decent. But in terms of the confidence, which she mentioned in the beginning, she did not have that. She also was very honest to herself. She said, I can finish it in the pool. And actually, before we started the program, she showed her, like her video above the water. And I told her, you seem to be not bad. You're moving, going back and forth. You're relaxed. And I asked her, like, how long is your longest? And she said 1,000. Shouldn't be a problem, right? But it's not just about above the water. It's not just about how you feel. Because when you go to the race day, you get tested with anything can happen, really.
Yeah.
You have to be ready,
It's like the skills are a little bit different. There's other things happening that
definitely. And if you're not confident in your ability, I think for me anyway, like any curveball at that point then becomes just disastrous because you're just not confident enough to be able to mentally and physically handle, those curveballs. So,
and actually your experience, what you said earlier, is something that also emphasized, because runners or cyclists also, but we're talking about runners more. So
Yeah.
a lot of individuals, they think that, okay, so for example, so for athletes who's training for 70.3 or who's training for Olympic distance, how they see their training is they don't see it as a triathlon training. They see it as a separate individual, work.
Mhm.
Wherein they structure their workout. Well, as long as I do 3 swims or 2 bikes
Yeah.
or long run, I think I'm good. But the thing about it is that on the race, how you perform on the swim affects the bike.
Oh, so true. So
Or
true.
run is affected by the swim and bike. And
Yeah.
Valerie just said it took her 30 minutes. I mean, that's done already. You're doing a sprint that's about 12 miles.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Exactly. I think it was, I don't know, maybe a 20-mile ride. And again, it was so windy, but I was so relieved to be out of the water that I think it just went by. But yeah, so it was quite the experience. But looking back on it, it was actually a healthy thing because it was sort of, I think, a defining moment where I realized that just working harder wasn't going to solve this. It just,
it's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because if it never happened, you will be the stubborn, like stubborn, doing it. And actually it was a good thing that you get tested already, right. And then also the great part is that your family was there.
Yeah.
If you're not there, I don't know how you're going to feel if you didn't push through.
Right.
Because if you push through, you would have not learned what you learned.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Good. So true.
Mm-hmm. And the next thing is that, and this is important, everyone, and I really want you to hear this. The thing about it is that runners, you're not struggling because you are not fit, because you're not working out. You're struggling because it's likely that your breathing and the movement aren't sync. And that's something that Valerie was also trying to figure out, because also at the same time, she was, breathing on one side only and then trying to figure out the other side. And then there's a lot of movement.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And,
it's chaotic for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And even, trying to figure out drills, like you mentioned earlier, it's really hard to understand why you do certain drills, how to do the drills, if you're doing the drills right, all of those things.
And why you're doing it.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And then taking what you learn in the drill and incorporating it into your actual swim. Yeah. I think that's,
Were you doing technique drills before? Paddles? Fins?
Paddles. Yes. And some things that I would find, randomly, but again, like fingertip drag or something like that, I would see. So I would try. But it seemed to me that I wasn't even ready to do the drills because I didn't even, I wasn't even to the base level. So it was sort of like putting a Band-Aid on the problem. Yeah.
I was going to say that. I'm telling you, you're the one who's teaching already. You learned so much. So she's saying by experience, everyone. So basically what she's saying is that based on her experience, she said she's doing a drill, but she felt like she wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is that we underestimate swimming. That includes me, because what we see is that someone who's moving from one end to the other end. And if the person is moving from one end to the other lap, or just getting the distance, it must be getting better.
Right.
Why not?
Right. Right.
A lot of good swimmers in the pool, and it seems to be so easy for them. So you kind of obviously assume that, hey, it's going to be easy for me. Look at how they're doing it.
Yeah. I just thought that, the more meters you would rack up over time, that then your form would just improve and, be easier to do the distance, but it doesn't work that way.
But then even though you already finished 1,000, you were still struggling with your breath. So now everyone, what most people feel is they're out of breath. They would say, I need more endurance, or I just need to push through. But what's actually happening is their carbon dioxide is building up in your body. Yeah. And it could be the way you breathe. Like the way I teach with our athletes, there's different intensity. There's different intensity of the way you kick, or the way you breathe, or the way you move your body. And your body has to be in sync, like your shoulder, your hip, your core, your legs. It's like a dance or a gymnastic. Like you're dancing in the water. So now if your breathing is not in sync with the movement, your carbon dioxide can be building up and your brain reads the danger. So let me use an example. Okay. Let me give you an example. So let's just say, think about this, imagine walking up, a few flights, climbing a stairs. Okay. You're climbing the stairs, but you're holding your breath while doing that. Okay. Just imagine that. Can you believe that? So you're not out of shape, but you just can't get air in. What happens, right? Your chest tightens, your heart rate spikes. You feel that urgency to breath.
Yeah.
Can you guys relate to that? How about this? Okay, another analogy. How about if you have a straw? Okay, if you have a straw, you're trying to inhale, right? You're trying to have the straw, the fluid going. You need to exhale, right? You need to exhale. If you just keep inhaling, something's gonna happen, right? Same thing as with your swimming, your breathing. Okay. So now that's exactly what's happening in your swimming. You're moving, but your breathing isn't supporting the movement. The breathing has to be correct, the proper way. If not, your system panics. Okay.
Yeah.
So your body is designed what it's designed to do.
Yeah, it basically panics. It does what it's supposed to do.
Danger. Now the next thing is that you're fighting the water instead of moving through it. And here's the real issue: it's not just you're not breathing; it's that your breathing is out of sync with your stroke.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that, and I was just talking to another individual on Zoom yesterday. Actually, I said, when I was doing a lot of the master swim, because I was a master swim coach as well and doing a lot of in-person swim coach, I'm going to be honest to you. I wouldn't be able to see clearly with my naked eyes of the timing of the breathing of each individual, because there's just so much that you can see, and the power of the video is that you can slow motion. And there are athletes, like their breathing is off, or it's harder intensity, or they may not be breathing. And that is important. It's not as simple as just, okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah. And that's actually a game changer for Valerie.
So it could be a few different things. It could be that you're holding your breath too long.
You're holding your breath too long. You're exhaling too late, or trying to maybe inhale when your body isn't ready, So like, for example, let's just say, you haven't finished your exhalation and you suddenly inhale and then exhale. Exhale still continues, and inhale. The timing is already off. Your movement, the way you move, and the breathing needs to be in sync. But if you think about it, there's a lot of movements. You're also moving your arms. You're also moving your legs. You have to kick, right? So it's a lot of different skills, and a lot of athletes underestimate that because they think it's just about moving. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything that resonates there for you, Valerie?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think coordinating all of those movements together is what is so important. And if you think you can just start doing that day one, you can't. And so I think the tendency is to want to skip, building it block by block. Like I said, I knew I had to go back to the beginning, and that's what I think is so important, is you got to go back and start with the basics, because otherwise you're just, if you've got a faulty foundation, the whole thing's going to fall apart. So
all over. It's like, building a house, you're not going to have a roof if you don't have a good foundation. It doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Yeah. It all has to fit together in the right way. But I will say that once it does, you do start seeing that, it gets really fun, really fast, because, you start having hope again that it does get easier. And then it becomes, for me, I really wanted to do a race where I wasn't dreading the swim. And I think I shared that with both of you, that, I wanted to do a race where I wasn't just surviving the swim, to get to the bike and the run. Like, I'm like, this is fun for me. I want it to be fun. And so I didn't want to like put myself through misery again and just survive swim to get to bike and run. So it's been worth,
well,
kind of
you've been even excited to swim now.
I know. I know. And I live in the Midwest and I'm already like kind of looking at the lake, which is just literally starting to thaw because it's long winter here. But I am just kind of eyeing it like, okay, I'm getting ready to get the wetsuit on. Yes.
It was it was the opposite. When before she started, she was asking, she felt like out of place.
Yes. Remember, I told you I was an imposter. I would show up at the pool and, I would have like the different gear, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And I was just sort of ad hoc finding a training plan and trying to piece it together. But, I think that's why the confidence to me is like the biggest takeaway from the program, because I just felt like I'd finally learned the basics and the right technique and the skills I needed to try that.
Because you understand, you're able to continue to refine it.
Yeah.
Because you understand, I was not giving you just do the workout. I was explaining to you why you're doing it.
Yeah.
I was solving what you're dealing with. It's not like it's more of like, hey, I want you to do this cue and do it step by step. Because I have to rack my brain, like, what's happening with Valerie? And then give you specific steps to actually do those things.
Oh, absolutely. And then, that allowed me, even because I'm still taking underwater video, and it allows me to look at that and notice, before I couldn't have told you, why my arm wasn't in the right position. Like I wouldn't have been able to see that. And, now it's so nice being able to watch my stroke and, identify what's going right, what's not.
Yeah. Well, so everyone, so the solution is not, swim harder, because 5 weeks, Valerie didn't get fit suddenly. And then now she's like all excited or ate something really yummy.
Right.
It's not about swimming harder, push through, or put more workouts. And actually she was basically doing pretty much the same, and sometimes actually less, because she was traveling as well. She even did a half marathon. I did a half marathon during the program within 5 weeks. All right, so because it's flexible, so it's not about just doing more laps. It's about doing quality work. Intentional on each movement, being aware of what you guys are doing. You're gonna say something?
No, it's so true. The quality. That's what I was going to emphasize. That's the quality over quantity. That's huge. Yeah.
The building on top of you learn the first thing and then you build on top of it and build on top of it. And it doesn't just all fall apart. Next day.
It is. I mean, you gotta kind of set aside your ego. You know what I mean? You got to set aside your Strava. Like you're not going to have the big numbers. I remember the first week, I think it was 300, 400, 500, because I was just doing those basic drills. It was just, but it was so critical. I mean, that's what needed to happen to really make solid progress.
Right. And because in swimming, it's how you breathe determines how long you last. So it's very important to know how that is. And this is where most athletes actually get stuck, because like I said, they think they need more endurance, coach, and they would tell me, I need more endurance. I need to, or I just need to swim more. I just don't have time, but really it's once you have time, you need to do like the quality work. And also you want to have your breathing and, the movement, it needs to work together. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you also, I mentioned earlier, we were talking about the building blocks. Okay. And the building blocks here is because when we talked with Valerie before she started, we said like, hey, Valerie, did you know that there's actually several skills put together in your freestyle, right?
What did you say?
No, I had no idea. I really didn't.
Yes, and
let's show. Can we show that one?
Yeah,
for
of
everybody?
course. I actually prepared that.
Do you guys want to see that one? Who wants to see that one?
Yeah,
the skills.
Okay, so like right here. Okay, I'm not gonna make mistake. All right, there you go. I got it. It showed up.
Okay.
All right. So like right here at the bottom, the system here, okay, you can see at the bottom there's breathing, balance, streamline, alignment, glide. Above it there's kick, pull, feel for the water, and then stroke right rotation at the top, and then open water skills. Now the thing about it is that a lot of athletes, they start doing random technique drills or following what they see, or like,
Mhm.
hey, you showed the video and then another friend said this, and then they, hey, do this because that's what I see, you know, without even realizing what is really the root cause of what is the real limiter.
Yeah.
We need to diagnose what's the real limiter so that you are solving the right problem. Because if you are focusing on the wrong problem, you like solve it, try to address it. I keep doing, oh, I got it. But then you look at the time, I'm still gasping for air. I'm still stuck. And that's where a lot of individuals get stuck because they're trying to solve the wrong problem. Okay. So
Mhm.
now,
Yeah, there's definitely the jumping into the wrong level. Like there's a difference
Yeah.
between math and advanced calculus. Like there
Mm.
is a difference. You don't
one
want to
plus
be
one, and then
Yeah.
you're doing calculus with integration. Like you don't want that. You got to go 1 + 1 first, right?
Mhm.
It just becomes hard. It just becomes hard. And so like this is very important, everyone. So like you can get a screenshot if you'd like, and you want to build your skills. You want to build your skills. Now the next thing is that a lot of athletes, they haven't mastered the breathing yet, and they continue to do laps after laps, which is what Valerie did last year. And what
Mhm.
happened is that it was just carrying those faulty technique, the wrong pattern, the wrong habit,
Mhm.
getting stuck. And then now
Yeah.
she has a bad habit. And that's what we want you to avoid. Okay. So
Yeah.
now, let me see. You have a question, Vineta?
Yeah, I mean, we see this all the time. Athletes skip, the right level, and they go straight to the workouts. They go straight to whatever drill that they saw that day, and then it for some reason doesn't work, and it's not really clear why it's not working because they're not realizing that all these things exist.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
Valerie, when you were learning how to swim, getting your technique and actually getting to 1,000, so were you just like scrolling in YouTube then before? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was just looking at different YouTube videos, and I never took underwater video of myself when I was doing this, so I had no idea. I didn't even think about doing that. But yeah, and I would, try to listen to some podcasts and so forth. But I think that it was really hard for me to diagnose myself and figure out, where I was. And so it was just so random, and there was no method to it.
Right.
And so it was just, I feel like every week I was just trying a little bit of this and then a little bit of that. And,
There's no system. There's
no, exactly. And then I thought in my head, once I could swim 715 meters, if that was my race distance, if I could do it in the pool, then I was ready. I mean, it was so naive, but anyway, that was my lesson learned. So as you could see in the pyramid, open water swim is at the top, and there's a reason it's at the top because there's a lot of other things that have to like fit and happen, first. Yeah.
Well, but you learn fast.
Yeah.
You learn fast.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's it. You gotta learn, and then actually, how to breathe. You know how to kick, but then you have to still go back to the drawing board. Which is
yes, exactly. And even like in my session today, just it's so important to go back to those basics. I mean, even when I'm doing a longer set, to really think about the breathing again. So it's so valuable. Yeah.
I like that we're talking about this because people, yes, they don't know really where to start, what to fix. We do have a visual that you can show. So
I'm going to show that.
Like, what is it that usually
Well, I'm going to share this one here. Okay, so I'm going to share this one. This one is basically why you feel stuck in swimming. And this is what Valerie had said, like she was, and not just Valerie, like a lot of athletes or a lot of runners, what they look into. This is an iceberg. Okay, so what they look into is the stroke. what they measure, the distance, the pace, they feel good. The Strava shows up, I can go to the distance, and they go by the average pace even, and then they don't really understand how to analyze it. And the next thing is that the stroke also, they look like above the water, it looks smooth, just like what they see in YouTube. And of course, that's like, we want any encouragement, right? And that's good. But I want you guys to look under the water and actually look deeper,
Mm-hmm.
deeper. Like part of it is like breathing timing, body position, coordination, tension. Okay. Those things are important.
Yeah, it's usually what people look at the tip of the iceberg is let me fix my arm.
Yeah.
My kicking, and see that my kicking is off.
Elbow, crossover. We actually have another athlete, like he just started, and then he said like, coach, I can see there my swim, I'm crossing over, I'm doing scissor kick, and my breath there, I'm lifting my head. Like he was analyzing it already. Like he knows what he needs to correct. However, he doesn't know how to correct it.
Right.
To actually implement it. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to take a closer look at this one, just put iceberg in the chat. I can get you that visual. It has some information on it. Maybe it'll be helpful.
All right. So yeah, put iceberg, and we'll share you that doc that we do have that we've been sharing to athletes who's been asking for help. So here's the method, here's the system. And I love that Valerie had shared this one already, like had mentioned earlier. So hopefully you guys can see it. Can you guys see it?
No, you're not sharing.
Add to stage. All right.
Yes, now we're sharing.
All right. So we call this one Freestyle Fix Map. Okay, Freestyle Fix Map. And basically right here, you can see first what you're going to want to do is that you want to identify the problem. Okay. Because there's a lot of problems. Let me make sure you guys can see me.
They can see it.
Yeah,
you can even draw on it if you want.
Okay. So like right here. So you want to first identify the problem. So first, a lot of individuals, they say like, coach, I cannot breathe. Okay. So now they focus on breathing. Okay. Coach, I saw this one. It's one goggle in. So now they focus on that goggle. But the thing about it is that really the problem, or is it a symptom? Is it because of what you feel? Right? The breathing, it may be hard because of your rotation. It's the wrong timing, or the wrong timing with your hand entry, and it just throws you off because the other arm is also moving. Or could it be your legs that's causing the problem in breathing, right? Now that's where it comes. Like you want to identify the problem, because if you are seeing so many problems, and a lot of athletes actually share this one. Like, I see athletes like sharing videos all over, and then they get so many feedbacks from random people, and they say, fix this, fix that. And then now they're like overwhelmed. But then are you really fixing the real problem? Because you wouldn't want to fix the wrong problem and you get stuck and you ask yourself, where's my confidence? You want to be confident that you are doing the right thing. So next is that once you identify the problem, you want to ask yourself, like here, it starts off with feel something off. Identify the symptom. Do you have an anchor, legs, sinking legs? Is it sinking legs? Is it out of breath? When you're out of breath? And then that's where what happened here is that when an athlete says that, well, it's ideally, I want to see their videos. Okay. Or I go in and diagnose the cause. Okay. Diagnose the cause. Diagnose the technique limiter. And a lot of individuals, so for example, for Valerie, it was her breathing. The breathing was the symptom, but the breathing was not the root cause. Okay. It was something else. And it's something that she did not know until I showed it to her step by step. Okay. And so like right here, so once she, like I look at her kicking, I said, you're good with kicking, you're good with this, like I know you want to breathe on the other side, but let's fix this one first. So I gave her step by step. But then for us to be able to correct that technique limiter, we need to do the right drill. And Valerie said earlier, like I was doing random drills. I don't even know what those are for, but I thought it was good. And so, and then let me go back to Valerie. So Valerie, you were doing some random drill, and then, but did you know if you're doing it correctly?
No, no. It just, I just, of course, it's just random knowledge picked up on YouTube. And it was like, okay, it seems like everyone's doing drills. And so, you pick a few drills and you think that maybe something's going to click and it's going to change. But yeah, no, I didn't understand, the drills that I was doing, or if I was doing them correctly. And quite honestly, some of the drills that I was doing I wasn't ready for. I think I said that before, but so I'm sure that I wasn't doing them properly. I mean, I never took video or anything, but yeah, knowing what I know now, I'm quite confident that I wasn't doing the drill correctly.
Did it feel good when you were doing them?
No.
Oh, okay,
no.
so you didn't feel good. Okay, well, that's
No.
a good thing actually. That's a good thing
Yeah.
that you didn't feel good, because some athletes, they feel good and then now they have a false confidence.
Oh yeah, no, they didn't feel good, but then they weren't sustainable. I would try one drill and I would think that was terrible. So then I would move on to, a different drill and see how that went. But
Makes
and
sense.
yeah, it was just so random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everyone, I just want to remind you guys. So, like, what I like, of course, it didn't feel good, right? It's not like I like, but I like that you didn't feel good, because that
Yeah.
was a signal that, hey, I might be doing it wrong. So you stop, right?
Yeah.
So it's good. But there are individuals, and everyone, if that's you, there are individuals, they try the technique drill, they feel good. Now they said, I must be doing it right. Even our athletes, I said, like, you said you're focusing on it. Do you have an evidence that you're actually doing it through a video? Did you see yourself do a good catch when you breathe? And he said, no. And I said, well, I need to see a video, because if you're just feeling it, or if you're just telling me you're focusing it, guess what? I had the same mistake. I thought a lot of athletes said, I thought I was doing it until I saw it in the video.
True. So true. I remember the first time I saw a video and I was shocked. I've got a problem keeping my the leading arm extended when I turn to breathe. And then, when I watched it in the video, I would see, there was absolutely no catch. Like my arm came straight down. And in my head, I was catching, I could not believe the difference when I saw it. Yeah.
I know, the feelings lie. It's
totally.
Especially, it's so common. Everybody says this.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let me go back there. We're almost done, everyone. So I want to make sure you guys get this one, and I want to make sure I don't do it.
Yeah.
You guys can see it?
Yes, we can see it.
All right. So the next one, okay, so hopefully so you do the correct drill, okay? You don't want to skip, because also for Valerie, it was like she realized, right? But there's also another thing. The worst thing is that you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Because there are advanced drills there, like, for example, one arm drill. Oh, that looks good. I should be doing that. But before you even do that, you need to make sure that you are ready. You've already mastered the foundation. Okay. So make sure you do the correct drill. Okay. Just reminder on that. The next thing is that get feedback. If you don't know what you don't know, okay, you got to get someone, okay, whether that is another swim coach or whether that's me, but someone who's an expert who will guide you step by step, okay. And some individuals, they would say, like, watch this YouTube video. But the thing about it is that when you start, okay, so when you start watching another YouTube video without watching yourself, you lose focus on yourself.
Yeah.
When you should be focusing on your video, right? So now it's good that you're watching, you're getting idea of how to do it, but you need to get a video so that you can make sure and match. Am I really doing it? Okay. So get that, and then have someone, an expert, whether that's me or another coach, someone who can really guide you, not just, like, there's another thing I wanted to share you guys, I've had coaches, they're great, but it's more about the communication of how they're saying it. Like, engage your lats. How do you engage your lats?
Right.
I don't know how to engage my lats.
Right.
Basically, the way I coach is that there's a step-by-step certain movements that you need to do. So there's mini steps. All right. Engage lat. it's not just about engaged lap. You're also again skipping it. There's steps. What are the movements that you need to do? You need to be in a certain position to be able to engage the lats. Once you start engaging your lats and you start feeling, you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. It's there, the lats. All right. Because if you start feeling your lats, that means that likely you're doing your catch. All right. So here you go. So get feedback. Don't just do, or workout, not knowing what's happening. So this, and a lot of times this are being missed by people. Actually, they know the symptoms. They're like, I have a problem, breath. But what they're usually missing is that's number 2, diagnose. And the next thing is number 4. Oh, even the right. They do the drill, but it's not the right drill. Okay.
Yeah, I think you said that really, really well. The fourth one is usually the one that is skipped by most people because they
assume.
They think that it's correct, and
because they feel good, and then they go back and forth.
They don't verify, and they don't actually know. They feel that it's right, but it's not really.
Okay. Now the next thing, very important. Right now, I'm showing you the system that we've been repeating in different levels of athletes that I've coached. The next one, very important, get reinforced. Okay. So like if your race is around fall, this is the right time, or like maybe next year, because there's steps. Right now, when you're doing this, these are all zone 1, zone 2. Your race is not zone 1, zone 2. You need to reinforce, when you do speed intervals, when you do longer laps, okay? And then open water skills. What's going to happen is that there could be breakdown again, okay? Because this one is something like you just learned it zone 1, zone 2. Now you have to repeat it, and you need to reinforce. These are the steps, everyone. Get a screenshot. If you want, just rewind it. If you want to like go over it. I know we have another training similar to this. I hope you guys got a lot from it. Okay, so let me see. I think we got a lot already. So like, did it feel like you were trying to fix things on the surface, but something wasn't clicking afterwards? Or how is it now?
Valerie?
Yeah. So now I think the difference is that my sessions are much more pinpointed and strategic. Like I understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think that, I can tell it's working because of the progress, I'm making, and especially over the course of time. I mean, in 5 weeks, you can see what I did versus a year of just trying to randomly. Yeah. And that was in the midst of a busy work season and other things going on. So like, I'm excited about, continuing to just put in that work. But yeah, I can't emphasize how important it is to get those building blocks right. And I wish I would have done it a year ago, but I got there eventually. So that's good. But yeah, for anybody watching this, I mean, if you're struggling with the swim, I would just encourage you to seek out some good coaching and go through this program, because it really does save so much wasted energy and time. It's
disappointments also. You're like, now you're enjoying it.
Oh, right? Exactly. Yes, definitely.
Valerie, I'm curious, before you decided to work with us, what made you choose us specifically?
I think it was looking at the results that you were getting for other athletes. Like the other athletes that you were posting about, I identified with. It wasn't people who were already, hitting these incredible times or distances. It was people who said, like me, after 100 meters, I'm gasping, or, I just can't seem to get the breath, or whatever it was. Like, just like I could relate to them. And then to see, that they were getting results after, 30 days or whatever, going through your training. And so that resonated with me, is that, if I was going to do coaching, like I wanted to work with someone that had gotten results for others.
And now it's you.
Yay. Well, I actually consider myself a swimmer now. Like,
there you go.
It feels good.
Swimmer.
What?
a happy, excited swimmer.
Oh my gosh, so different. So different. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I know, Valerie, you said a lot of things in terms of like all the benefits. So I want to ask you, what's the biggest difference for you compared to what you were doing, like who you are right now? What stood out for you?
The biggest difference is confidence.
Confidence.
I have confidence in my ability to swim. I didn't have any confidence before. And that confidence comes from knowing that I went back and did it the right way. Yes. From knowing that I went through the proper steps. And I have a long ways to go. I mean, I know I have a long ways to go. But I think I feel confident that I'm going in the right direction now. And before, I just felt like I was spinning my wheels. And it really was like a total loss of confidence, because after you put that much time into something, to not see any progress is demoralizing. And it is,
demoralizing, traumatizing. It's like
all of it. Yeah. And I really think that swimming is one of those things that has a huge mental component. I mean, all the other disciplines do too, but I think more than anything, swimming does. So like if you start doubting yourself up here, I just feel like it quickly spirals into your physical performance. So I think it's super important to like know that you're on the right track mentally. I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So that's the goal, everyone. It's not just about, like, sure, we sign up for these races, but for Valerie, it's the confidence. She wants to enjoy what she get into. She said, by the way, she may not look like it, but she's 50, turning 51.
I am.
And then she said, like, I don't have time for this. I want to enjoy my 50s.
Yes. I want to enjoy the race, like I said, I don't want to just survive the swim part and get through it. Like, I want to be able to enjoy it as much as the other aspects. So,
Well, Valerie, if someone's watching right now, feels exactly how you felt before, they're out of breath, they're frustrated, they're unsure. Someone was like, I'm about to do this triathlon, or like, I'm new to this, a runner. What would you tell them?
I would tell them, take your training. I really mean it, because, and for me, this is coming from someone who I don't have an expensive bike. I haven't invested like a ton of resources into this. This is fun. It's a hobby. But it was so worth it. Like the money is well spent to really get this training. And I shared with both of you, like I wanted to develop this skill like as a lifelong skill too. Like I wanted to be able to, continue swimming for the next 20, 30 years. So it was worth it to me. But yeah, I think I would definitely advise them to do it. It'll be so much more fun. The whole process is so different when you're enjoying it.
Oh, especially because you didn't need to have another year to go through it, which I did actually much longer because I didn't have my program then. And I had to fly to Australia then to actually just learn swimming. But so like, everyone, I want you to leave with this. It's not about like, okay, you're fit in running, then you got the swimming. Because I thought I was that way, or you need to just put in work, or you need to just put consistency. If we just go back in time, let's just say I met Valerie back in the days, that she would have saved that 1 year. And if that's you're just starting triathlon, we do have a lot of free training resources, but if you're ready to get help, we have that for you as well. And we can talk more about it later. Okay. And basically this is about understanding what's actually happening in your swimming and fixing the right thing.
And once you do, everything changes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
I love swimming. I can't. Yeah. So everyone, if this helped you today, keep showing up on this live trainings. We go live every week. We're going to have another one next week. So follow us. If you're in YouTube right now, subscribe. We do also have a podcast.
And tomorrow we're going to be sharing something a lot of you have been asking for, especially if you want more structure, more guidance. So look out for that tomorrow.
We've been working behind the scenes of a big project because I know a lot of individuals want the help in swimming, and I want that to be available for you guys. So it's going to be big. So if you found this helpful, let's thank Valerie. Valerie, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you guys. It was a pleasure.
Type hashtag value, everyone. Let's thank Valerie. Thank you, everyone, for having us today and for being here. And Valerie, we're really proud of you.
Thank you.
The work.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all your coaching and encouragement and patience. Thank you.
Big up.
Yes, definitely.
Well, keep training smart, everyone. Your breakthrough is closer than you think.
Absolutely.
Do the smart training. Everyone, bye, everyone. Bye, Valerie.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.